Just how? Just how is The Heels Have Eyes Part 2 by Westside Gunn? How is it this good? I just, like, seriously, how many great albums is he going to release? We can't even really catch our breath because he just kind of keeps doing it. And it's so unassuming, you know, when you have like a one series of sequelized mixtapes or whatever, you sort of expect there to be a general level of quality, and you expect that level of quality to be, pretty good. But he has what, three series going? He's got the Hitler Wears series. He's got the Pray For series. He's got the Fly God series or the Fly series, and now the Heels Have Eyes, because this is a guy who cares more about professional wrestling than he does than fashion, and he cares more about fashion than he does about making rap music. Yet somehow he just keeps on coming out with rap music that is this good. How? How is this possible? How is it possible that my least favorite member of Griselda, in terms of the way that he raps and the way he presents himself, how is it that he pretty consistently makes the best albums? I don't I don't understand. Like what if like Masta Killa came out with all the best Wu-Tang Clan albums, I mean, no offense to Masta Killa, but he's not my favorite member, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how it's possible. Well, I do. I mean, okay, I've been studying it. This is what, my 78th video on a Griselda Collective album. It all comes down, he calls himself the best curator, and that's what he is. He is the best curator. He is the best person at finding artists to work with. I called him in my review of Hitler Wears Hermes 8, I called him Buffye. And now that I have a larger audience, I'm just going to say it again, goddammit, because it's a really good point. Buffye is, like buffalo, but like buff means like Puff Daddy, not Diddy, not the bad stuff. Diddy did all the bad stuff. Puff Daddy was the producer guy, So he's like a cross between Puffy and Ye. Like, he has a lot of the artistic sensibility and the fashion love and the vision of Ye kind of mixed in with the sort of like, well, what does he actually do of Puffy? And he manages to do that all together while coming out of Buffalo. I just don't know. He's got this, obnoxious voice, and he always raps about the same stuff. We're living in a time where we demand growth from our rap artists, but right here, we don't care at all. We don't want growth. We just want more units of Westside Gunn. That's just what we want. Just give us more. I don't know how he keeps doing it. Well, I'm going to keep trying to describe it. It could be that he keeps finding these collaborators, most of them coming out of Buffalo. Okay, is there something in Lake Erie? Is there something that happens in the Emerald Channel, which is the part of the Buffalo water system where the water from Lake Erie gets clean? Is there something in the Emerald Channel that just makes great rappers? I haven't even gotten around to that new Chez Noir album. I haven't even gotten around to that new Benny the Butcher album. There's so much good stuff. But even the people who aren't from Buffalo, he manages to find and do great stuff for them, like Stove God Cooks and Mike. By the way, it's awesome that people are starting to wake up on Stove God Cooks. Thank you, Clips. It's great. Hopefully everyone is fully awake now to how wonderful he is. It's not just he's a great beat finder. He is a great beat maker finder. And because of that, that's just a fancy way of saying he's a good producer finder. Because of that, like, his albums are just amazing to listen to. Like, if you love rap music, you get so excited. But the thing that you're excited about is never him rapping. When do you ever feel? You tell me in the comments. I'll give you one more example. But where you're listening to a rap album and the verses of the rapper whose name the album, who made the album, is the thing you're not excited about. Like, I never go, oh, Westside Gunn came out with a new album. I can't wait to hear him talk about what kind of guns he has, what kind of French fashion designers he knows, and then maybe some drugs as well. We don't really care about that. It's necessary that he has words, but it's secondary or sometimes tertiary because it's how he puts everything together. What's the other time I ever felt that way? That's how I feel listening to Kanye. I never listen to Kanye going, oh, is he going to rap about his head being so big you have to sit behind him and like that's one of his good lyrics? No, you listen to him and his lyrics are good and they, there's growth and stuff, but you listen for how he puts everything together. And I think, I've been saying it, we have a Kanye-shaped hole in our music ecosystem, and I think part of it is filled with Westside Gunn. So I'm going to do a thing that I do every once in a while. I'm going to ask you who gets the producer of the album. We got one song each from Conductor Williams and DJ Muggs and Harry Fraud, 3 big names. And then I think we have 3 songs by CG and 3 songs by Danny LaFleur. So who's going to win producer of the album? Because they're in competition with each other. Who has the best feature? And does this album contain the Coke verse of the year? That's a controversial thing. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor. Oh, if you don't smash the like bucket, stingy Steve, I'm gonna body slam you into downtown Rochester. Sorry, it seemed like a funny idea. Let's smash the like bucket, subscribe, all that. The album begins, as a lot of his albums begin, with just trash, just AI garbage. Just get that out of here, all right? This is the Buff Baby competition. Get that out of here, okay? We don't need the fake vinyl hiss or the fake singing. Fortunately, it's a slow song, and then it gets into CG. Oh, CG starting strong. I'm going to tell you, I really like CG's beats. I mean, I've liked him since the first time I think I paid attention to him was that Marie beat on the Pray for Haiti by Makami. But he's just been killing it. He did that song, the Nile, whatever that was, Egypt, with Westside Gunn, and then the feature with Doechii, so it was like getting much higher profile. And then I happen to follow him on Instagram, and the dude's really into vintage video gaming. He posted a picture of Toe Jam and Earl. I just can't even tell you how happy that made me. Very few people talk about Toe Jam and Earl. That game, that game taught me a lot about what cool was, about what funk was. Listen, I was in middle school. How else am I going to learn about the funk? Toe Jam and Earl. Earl is a goner. Anyways, so I'm very happy to see CG more here. It doesn't hurt that he's a great producer. It seems like on a couple of the songs here, he has sort of this style, the very simple boom bap beats. And most of the boom bap beats are the same, and do you know what I say to that repetition? Fine with me, fine with me, because that's a killer beat. If we're going to have 1,000 million songs every year with the trap beats, with the tss and the hi-hat and the shoddy red madness, that's fine. But you could just... Because the thing is, what I like to pretend is that my entire life is just filled with a boom bap beat. That's the soundtrack to my life. I'm walking into class. Hey yo! That's like my theme music. It's just that drum beat. But what I like that CG does is he has this really sparse piano over it. And you got the kids saying, "Fly God," and just the layering is so atmospheric and nice. Starts off with what can only be called Westside Gunn word salad. And 45 cocaine salad. Balenciaga. I don't know, just saying a whole bunch of words. Just full-on scattered jazz poetry. I do like him saying he's got his Goyard socks and his own sneakers. Man, I got to get some of those Westside Gunn sneakers. I never thought about wearing Saucony before, but I am a 47-year-old dad, so I can wear... This is weird, right? If I got to ask Bliss Foster this, because he's the fashion guy. If a dad wears dad fashion because it's dad fashion, not because he's a dad, is that cultural appropriation? Am I appropriating African American style if I wear dad clothing and hats and stuff, not ironically, but in that sense? I don't know. It's a complicated question. And a completely stupid question. This is why you don't improvise your videos. It's kind of dark in here. I'm going to turn on the light. Let me pause the camera here. Yeah, my daughter went off to college, so I can record in here now. Maybe my favorite Buffalo-specific lyric. Threw him off the Rainbow Bridge, now he's fish food. So whenever you have to cross the border, you got to figure out which of the bridges are you going to cross. I think there's the Peace Bridge, there's the Rainbow Bridge, there's one other bridge. Anyways, I like that idea. And then they did the thing which he does every once in a while, which is the sound of real gunshots. And I just don't enjoy listening to real gunshots. I really don't enjoy it. I really don't enjoy it because I think about school shooters and scared kids hiding underneath their desks while they hear those sounds. So, can we just keep to the do? Is it too much to ask for instead of the actual pak? But whatever. That's just my preference. Then we get to Amira Kitchen, which is an excellent restaurant in Cheektowaga, Buffalo, outside of Buffalo in New York. Maybe I'll do a meetup there sometime. Maybe we should. Oh, that's what I should set up. I should set up a food tour, a Griselda food tour of Western New York. Start off at Dr. Bird's. You got to start there. We'll all get bricks and we'll write brick on the bricks. Oh. And then we'll go to Amira Kitchen. Anyways, it'll be a whole idea. I'm loose, everybody. It's Friday. It's Friday, yabba dabba do time. Again, this is a CG beat where he's got this kind of sparse keyboard sound, very chunky, underwater drums come in, these great ghost notes on the hi-hat. I really like what he does with the drums. Check the rap sheet. I don't do rap beef. And then Tom Sauce comes on and he kind of sings this chorus. And I heard it and I was like, this kind of sounds like an Open Mike Eagle chorus. And then I had lunch with Open Mike Eagle the other day because he was in Rochester, and I asked him. He's like, "Do you think that kind of sounds like you?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, I hear that." So, anyways, who knows if it's an inspiration or not? But I do think it's nice that we have multiple voices singing in this kind of sweet, vulnerable, jazzy style singing. I think Tom Sauce is just great. I think he's awesome. And anyways, so it's kind of a funny thing. And then, Tom Sauce comes in and he kind of calms things down. I really like the way his voice interacts with Westside Gunn. The thing about Westside Gunn is he is just like so aggressive and so all the time that it's really good when you can have like so many things play well with that. He's like some kind of hot sauce or something that does really well being served on less busy food. I don't know. And then Westside comes in and makes it more aggressive, talks about doing push-up in his cell. I like that. And then A.A. Rashid comes back. There's something going on in that Emerald Channel, everybody. What is Buffalo doing to create this much greatness? I'll tell you what it is. Rap comes from post-industrial conditions. That is how rap is created. That is where it comes from. Where did it come from in New York? In the Bronx. After the Cross Bronx Expressway and all of the manufacturing jobs left, where did it come from in California? It came from Compton. Okay, that's just where it comes from, the post-industrial spaces, which is why Buffalo, one of the most post-industrial cities you can possibly have, is creating so much stuff. It's not in the water. It's in the systemic inequality that is somehow overcome and described by these amazing forces of art that are able to thrive despite all of the deck being stacked against them all the time. That's how we have A.A. Rashid, and I'm happy to have him. He's on his game. Last couple times, he does like spoken word stuff. Last couple times I've heard him, I've been a little bit less happy, but here he's talking about the horns playing, and then CG, man, he's got these horns going in the back. Man, he who performs for applause has already lost his voice. God does not dance to mimicry. I feel like every single line from A.A. Rashid could be someone's senior quote. Beautiful lines. If music does not help you, then it's a theft of your time and the saxophone, and it's great. And this is the point where I was like, oh man, CG is going to win this producer battle, hands down. No problem. Then Powerhouse Hobbs comes on. Powerhouse Hobbs, produced by Danny LaFleur, is like the best rap beat of the year. It's in the running. I'm sorry, Clips fans. I'm sorry, Craven fans. Oh, man, there've been so many good rap beats this year. I'm already regretting the conceit of this idea. But this is up there. This beat is nuts. So listen, the way that an organ works, like a pipe organ in a church, okay? Pipe organ. I love playing pipe organs. Okay, if you ever get to play one, it's awesome. They have these things called stops, and that determines how much air goes through the pipes, And so when you pull out the stop, the organ gets louder because more air goes through it. That's where the expression "pull out all the stops" comes from, because it means like it's gonna get loud. It feels like this beat, if someone went to a church and pulled out all the stops and just played the organ ridiculously dissonantly, just this weird horror sound, this blaring, and then this great boom. This is what I want. This is it. This is my theme song. hey yo, right? This is what I want. God damn, this is a good drum. This is a good beat. This is it's so good. And what I think is I think the melody is actually being played. So organs, church organs are cool because they have like three different layers up top, which are like different ranges. So it's like mostly vertical. So it's kind of like a piano. So the higher ranges are up top, and then they have the feet. They have like a full keyboard under their feet. And if you ever go to see a good organist, they'll play the little melodies with their feet. And that's what I think's happening. I think the do 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 is being played with the feet. How does he do it? I wasn't even going to review this because I'm like, man, what am I going to say? I already reviewed Heels Have Eyes 1. I've already reviewed 12 last year. How much more am I going to say? Westside Gunn very much like you to know that his money machine is broken. He told you on the Joey Badass album, and he's telling you here. Just what an amazing, the whole like extra half verse is so funny. There's an extra half verse from Westside Gunn where he's just so excited about his metaphor of something being as big as Powerhouse Hobbs that he doesn't fit it in. It's the most clumsy thing. Just he goes something, it's a big Powerhouse Hobbs. Like he's such a wrestling nerd. I don't even know who Powerhouse Hobbs is. I assume he's like a stuffed tiger. But like, I don't even know. But he's so excited to say that. And then we get Benny's verse. Benny the Butcher. I know Mike is on here, and I know Stove God Cooks is on here, but Benny the Butcher has absolutely the verse of the album, and I am going to say, even including Boldy James, even including Freddie Gibbs, even including Malice and Pusha T, this is the Coke verse of the year. This is just awesome. This is awesome because it's from a different perspective. It's from a perspective I haven't heard before. I sold 100 bricks and I still can't tell you how Coke tastes. I don't test it with my gums. I check it with my thumbs. That's what you do. To see how hard it is, I press it till it crumbs. So he's describing how, like you see in the movies, everyone's like, it's good. That whole thing. He's like, you don't do that. You press it, you check it with your thumbs. I know it's all the authenticity and the details and all that, but it's like so evocative and so well made and so tough, and you've never heard it before. I went from catfish to sea bass. I assume that's like different kinds of fish scale, which is a different kind of way that cocaine looks. I assume street math, crashed whips to G class. That brick ain't clean. We call it decaf. I smell Folgers when I sell Yola. I used to make plays in jail. We had to yell to the cell over. I broke the pot when I stuck my fork in the cane. Autographed the brick and I signed it Scorpion Gang. It's just great. It's a great verse. It's so evocative. You imagine him sitting there sticking his thumb in there. You imagine him going off into jail and trying to figure out how to make plays and yelling the cell over. And you imagine the Pyrex, like breaking with his fork and the cane and the whole thing, and then autographing it with the Scorpion and Griselda, and it's all together. And it's just so great. And then they let the beat ride. So listen, CG, man, I'm sorry, dude. You can't do anything. Daniel LaFleur came to play. And I think Heels Have Eyes 1. I think that was the best beat on that album. Yeah, I think Egypt was the best beat on that album. But here, man, Daniel LaFleur, what the hell, man? He's not as big of a name as Conductor, but I think he has the best beats on the album. Speaking of Conductor, we have Mandela. Different style of Conductor beat. A very, very clear, chopped up sample. It comes from like this religious soul thing. What's it called? It's from What Can You Lose from Following God is the name of the song. But it's cool is that the organ from the last song, the terrible, horrible horror movie church organ in the last song, here is like this nice kind of bright organ. I'm not talking about following your friends. Love it. And it's just Westside on the verse. Every slave is made for the noose. Man, that's a tough line. And the county had to trade my whole tray for the fruit. I don't know what that means, everybody. I don't know what that means. I've never been to jail. And I don't even watch TV shows about jail because I get too sad when I think about the prison industrial complex and how terrible we are as a country at the criminal justice system. But I like this nice light song. It's nice in here. Then we get to Bricolai Volkov featuring Stove God Cooks, produced Peruso de Harry Fraud. Harry Fraud, man, he's putting his. I'm telling you. You had the great beats by CG, then the absolute brain breaker from Danny LaFleur, and then Conductor comes out with something kind of new and different and cool and weird and light, and then Harry Fraud. You think it's just going to be this cool piano intro, and then there's these like spoons or tap dancing bit in the back. Oh my God! And Westside Gunn, one of the best intro lines ever, just ever. What is it? What's the line? Call me God for short. I'm from the East Side. Call me God for short. That is so funny. And of course, he's from the East Side because his name is Westside Gunn. I don't get it either. West Ham United play in East London. What are you going to do? A really solid chorus from Stove God. So much money on your head. Tupac couldn't keep you up. Oh, man, that's funny. He laughs at his own jokes. I like that about Stove God Cooks because cool guys laugh at their own jokes. Like I do, and you can hear my asthmatic ass. You probably think I smoke like 5 packs a day with how asthmatic I am when I laugh. And he calls himself Luther Vandross with the brick. I do like the auto-tune on here because it's totally unnecessary and feels like it's almost ironic, but I hope that Stove God does not start using more auto-tune. Then we get a verse from Eastside Flip, who's like a local legend who often gets verses here. I wouldn't mind a full album of Eastside Flip verses. Then we get to Aunt Gina, another CG beat, super far away. It sounds like an underwater level in a vintage video game. Maybe CG was playing Donkey Kong Country. Do you know? You know that beat. Underwater level? You know, maybe that. Sky Zoo's very calm, and their verses are kind of sewn together. Glorilla. Listen, Danny LaFleur, he's already dead, man. You already killed this album. Now you're coming up with another horrorcore beat, this low dissonant piano sounds like absolutely underneath, and then you have someone in the beginning just saying fuck, and that kind of like distorted basement dwelling Napoleon Dynamite verse. Like that's what I said when I heard the beat. Fuck. And the boom bap beat's a little different. It's got a little different lilt to it. And these are my favorite lyrics from Westside Gunn on the whole album. Hey yo, cocaine got me looking like this. Project elevators smell like piss. Mr. F, but his man got hit. Nick Van Exo with a pill, it was lit. Got bored, talk shit on Twitter because I'm rich. You know, it's funny. Because, man, he's terrible on Twitter. Stay off of Twitter, Westside. That's what I always want to say, because he's so sensitive. He's so sensitive that if he saw this review, despite the fact I've been saying he's like the cross between like Puff Daddy and Kanye West, you know, and I'm saying all these great things about him, he'd probably just focus on me saying to get off of Twitter, and he'd write like 10 paragraphs like, this professor guy's a piece of shit. Anyways. But it's funny that he's kind of aware of that. Feds in the Amazon trucks taking pics. Really? Do they do that? I bet they do. And a whole extra beat at the end. And then next is another Brother Tom Sauce feature, another beat by Danny LaFleur, just unbelievable. It's called Prick. I saw this joke from Larry David the other day. He said ever since he's been rich, everyone who's rich, you just fill it with prick. And when he was younger, he was poor, and everyone calls someone as poor schmuck. So he went straight from poor schmuck to rich prick. Kind of funny. But this song is not comedy. This song is tragedy. It's very sad. Jazzy, cool, soft piano. Kind of a standard boom bap beat in the back. This is maybe Danny LaFleur's least sort of avant-garde beat on here, but this cool broken cymbal comes in sometimes. And Brother Tom Sauce, he's like an empty bottle. You know, he's DKR right here. I look like I have it all like IKEA, but I'm as empty as a pop bottle. I've been on a winning streak like it's a routine. I like the way he sings the hook. And then we have just the general survivor guilt. It feels like for kind of street rap, there's like a progression of growth. And the first step is survivor's guilt. Like that's the first step to recognizing you've really been through something and enunciating that in an interesting way. So we're here or there. It could have been, would have been, should have been me, but it wasn't, and I'm grateful. Nice sad verse from Westside Gunn. Then we get the Demna Left Balenci, produced by DJ Muggs. Great beat, weird beat, weird. He's never afraid to be super weird, and this is a super weird beat. Man, this really high singing, this ridiculous high singing. And I think, this is my prediction, when the fashion designer Demna, former close colleague and mentor to Kanye West, when he left Balenciaga, which he did, I guess, in February or something. I don't know. I don't actually watch as much Bliss Foster as I used to, because I care about fashion like every once in a while. But when I do, he's there. But I get the sense that when Demna left Balenciaga, Westside Gunn was like, I'm just gonna have a song called that, because that's a big thing in the fashion world, and he's showing. And like everybody who likes fashion and who likes Westside Gunn sees that title and like, oh cool, he has a song about that. And then there's a little moment here where it's a repeated sample. It says, "You've got to have vision." So I looked this up. This is from a blaxploitation movie from 1973 called Willie Dynamite. And I'm going to include a link to the scene, because this is a wild scene which I actually think needs to be studied. It's sort of like a Godfather 2, in Godfather 2 when all the dons of all the families get together. It's like that. But it's all pimps. It's all pimps in New York. They're all dressed cool and they're all just talking just cool as 70s slang, all that stuff. And they're basically having an argument about whether or not they should coordinate and like divide up the blocks and divide up, I guess, their stables of women or whatever it is, and figure out, because that way they can protect themselves better from the law and they'll be organized. And then this one guy is there and he's like, no, I thought this was capitalism. I'm going to go, my ladies don't need help and I can control my own stuff, and who's going to divide what. It's an amazing scene because it ends up being a referendum on extreme free market capitalism. The whole scene, it's this argument between this guy who's trying to create some kind of collective and someone else who's fighting for the individual. Now, I've never seen the whole movie, so I don't know how it ends. I don't know who we're supposed to think is the good guy or the bad guy. But in the middle of this whole thing, the kind of head pimp, he says, "You've got to have vision." I think he says something like, "You have ambition, but you've got to have vision." Anyways, that's great. I have not seen enough of those movies. I just saw Blackula for the first time the other day. Movie's awesome. What have I been missing? Anyways, the album ends with Blow Hendry, produced by Miles, featuring Mike. Nice, gentle beat, swirling sounds. Who expected Mike and Westside Gunn to get together? Nobody. Who is happy that they did? Everybody. When it's too late for you to dip, you gotta stay. See a newer day, different script on delay. Go back and watch my review of Mike's most recent album. Man, he's also on a roll. He really deserves all the credit that he's getting and a bunch more. Kind of a sad line here from Westside Gunn. Cena Smith sniffed so much he lost 50 pounds. All you see was cheekbones when he smiled. And then we get to the end where Hulk Hogan tries to help a Buffalo newsman get a raise from his boss. And I like it because Hulk Hogan just died and he was a terrible monster and a horrible person and a racist. And also he was the coolest guy ever. And we have to sort of hold those things at the same time. You can't just throw Hulk Hogan in with like Kid Rock, because like when Kid Rock was great, Kid Rock wasn't very good. But Hulk Hogan, if you were around in the 80s, I'm just saying, he deserves all the hate and all the anger and all that stuff. But also, I think it's okay that we can just appreciate that he went on some local news channel and started screaming at the news director. People contain multitudes, and there was good in him. And all that was good is in this clip. Anyways, Professor Sky gets canceled for loving Hulk Hogan. I don't love Hulk Hogan. I don't. I think he's a terrible guy. But he did some awesome stuff. And then the album ends with Love You Part 2. I don't know. Crucial Guillotine's a fine beat, but it's sort of like, come here, B-word, I love you. Like, it seems like a weird sort of bit of misogyny just kind of tacked on at the end for no reason. So there you go. There's my review. I think Daniel LaFleur wins the producer battle, although I think CG definitely, I think this really cements that he's like on this rise. And what's so awesome about Westside Gunn is every time he works with a producer and he gets this out of them, you get another name where when you read the producer list, you get excited. So like it used to be just Derringer, and Derringer, Conductor Williams, Derringer, Conductor Williams, Nicholas Craven, Derringer, Conductor Craven, Nicholas Craven, Daniel LaFleur, Camouflage Monk. Like, it just keeps expanding. Obviously, these guys work with a ton of other people, right? I'm just I'm just saying, but like, it's great how he keeps folding more people into this beat squad that is just making all this great music. All right, there you go. There's my review. 30 minutes for a 45-minute album. What more do you want? You want me to do the song again? All right. Till next time. There's the camera.